Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If M. Kurama Gave Naruto the Ultimate Dojutsu Part 15. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto smacked Kobayashi across the face, sending the Inuzuka skidding back while rubbing his cheek. The blonde gave the most serious look anyone had ever seen him give. Before returning to Kobayashi, his right hand cackled from the Chidori. "I'm going to make you pay for all those times," yelled Naruto, and Kobayashi chuckled as his hair became more feral. His teeth grew longer, as did his claws. "Is that so, brat? Then bring it on. I can finally kill you like I planned," Kobayashi said before speeding away. Naruto growled before disappearing as well. Ayaka remained on the sidelines to observe the fight before intervening. Naruto deflected Kobayashi's punch and backflipped away before charging at the Inuzuka male. "Chidori," Naruto yelled as he charged straight at Kobayashi, only for the man to deflect the attack and throw a shuriken at the blonde Hokage. Naruto easily parried the shot with a kunai before hurling it at Kobayashi. It grazed Inuzuka's cheek, causing it to bleed, before he licked some of the blood with a satisfied grin. "I'll give you that you're not weak, but I'm just getting warmed up," Kobayashi said as Naruto closed his eyes. He was furious at the moment. He averted his gaze and glared. As the Mangekyo Sharingan and Shinsei Nagan began to emit flames, he focused both of his eyes on Kobayashi's form. When he saw the fire surrounding Kobayashi, the blonde's eyes widened. It wasn't black, but rather pure white. It was similar to another Amaterasu technique. "What is that fire? It's not my Amaterasu, and yet I feel so skilled with it," Naruto wondered before Kobayashi noticed the flames. He jumped out of the way of the attack, but Naruto's gaze was drawn to his form, and the fire quickly burned Kobayashi's left leg. Before Naruto vanished in the Hiraishin, the Inuzuka winced in pain. He appeared quickly next to Kiba and Haku as he noticed Kobayashi growling at him. Everyone else was taken aback by the blonde. For the time being, Naruto was on good terms with Kobayashi, which surprised everyone, especially Kiba and Haku. Kimamaro didn't seem surprised, but he was filled with admiration. Teuya felt the same way, as if she was seeing a different side of the blonde. Hiratsuchi screamed at the blonde as she used the jutsu that had decimated her village's forces. It was incredible to see it in action. "You certainly live up to your Tokubetsu Jonin title, brat," Kobayashi said, but Naruto didn't respond. He sighed and closed his eyes as the sand and dirt around him swirled. It caused Kobayashi to cover his eyes before smiling. "Alright, brat. I haven't had a proper workout, so I'll play with you," Kobayashi said in response to Naruto's chakra rise, his curse seal extending across his body. He smirked and quickly closed the gap between himself and Naruto. The blonde didn't react until Kobayashi's fist collided with a sand wall. While Kobayashi glared, everyone seemed surprised. "Sabaku no Yari," Naruto yelled, forcing Kobayashi to quickly maneuver through the dozens of sand spears that emerged from the sand. However, he was too slow, as one grazed his cheek and others spilt the sides of his clones. Kobayashi looked a mess when it was finished, but he didn't feel that way. Naruto, on the other hand, was not finished fighting and jumped into the air. He crossed his arms and became aware of his Kekai Genkai. "Karamatsu no Mai," Naruto yelled as he shot bones from his body at Kobayashi. Kimamaro's eyes widened at the use of his Kekai Genkai before everyone watched the attack explode into the ground. Naruto narrowed his eyes before falling to the ground, but he was met with a punch to the face that sent him through several trees until he exploded. "Naruto-kun," yelled Haku while Teuya cursed. Kiba tried to get up while balling his fists, but a gentle hand from Haku stopped him. Before getting to his feet, Naruto winced at the pain. He huffed and rested his hand on a tree to catch his breath. His entire body shook as a result of that punch. Of course, Naruto had seen the curse mark in action before. This happened twice or 3 times, but it was so strange. Nobody could hit that hard, but the blonde could if he balled his fists. He smiled before brushing the side of his cheek. "Sum-chan is going to be so pissed when she finds out," Naruto thought as he walked out of the clearing. He saw Kobayashi waiting for him before the Inuzuka turned around and Ayaka chuckled. "For a brat, he doesn't go down easily. Stop playing around with Kobayashi and kill him. You should be able to take on a Tokubetsu Jonin easily," Ayaka said, and the Inuzuka nodded. "Awa, I'm not having any fun," he said before seeing Naruto charge at him. While Ayaka's eyes widened, the blonde cocked his fist back and fused it with chakra before slamming Kobayashi across the face, sending the man crashing through the forest. Naruto sighed and huffed as he examined his fist. The chakra control for Tsunade's strength is still off. I'll have to fix it later. But damn, that's a good punch, Naruto thought to himself before noticing Kobayashi rub his jaw. Even for someone like him, that hurt like hell. Kobayashi had never been hit so hard in his life, not even by Tsune's standards. He growled before locking his gaze on Naruto. "You're testing my patience, brat," Kobayashi said, but Naruto raised his hand and waved it as if to tell Kobayashi to bring it on. The Inuzuka twitched his lips and developed a tick mark on his head. As the winds picked up, he quickly spun his body. Kiba looked up in awe as a fierce tornado appeared all around him. He knew he shouldn't be surprised, but there was something to admire about the technique, even if it came from his bastard of a father. Inuzuka Ryu, Gatsumaki, yelled Kobayashi as he spiraled down at Naruto. The blonde's eyes widened as he saw the large spiraling taijutsu move approaching him. He moved his sand quickly to cover his family and Kiritsuchi. While the others were inside, the blonde yelled, "Kase Becky. He's so strong," Kiritsuchi said, as Kiba chuckled painfully inside the shield. Before he smiled, he felt Haku still assisting him. "You haven't seen anything yet," Kiba said, and Kiritsuchi looked at him, wondering what he knew that she didn't. "Damn that shithead protecting us like this, we should be protecting him," Teuya snarled as she slammed her fist into the ground in rage. While Naruto faced the technique outside, everyone couldn't help but agree. He quickly extended his hand, and the Rasengan was made before the blonde could make a single hand sign. "Katen, Kin Nagar," Naruto yelled as he blew the small fire into the Rasengan, turning it dark red. The blonde smiled before closing his eyes and adding his lightning nature to the chakra ball. While Kobayashi was unaware, the current flew all around the Rasengan, amplifying its power. "It's too late," he yelled, but Naruto leapt into the air and yelled back. As the two techniques collided, the blonde yelled, "Gon Rasengan." Ayaka closed her eyes as she hid behind a tree before a massive explosion caused everyone inside to widen their eyes. "What's going on?" Kiritsuchi inquired, but no one responded before the explosion subsided. While Kobayashi stood huffing and Naruto did the same, the sand wall crumbled and everyone looked to see the forest destroyed. The two exchanged stares before the curse mark spread across Kobayashi's body, and Naruto's body began to leak red chakra. Everyone gasped, but Kobayashi widened his eyes and smiled. "No, not yet. I need to go all out on this brat or I won't be happy," Kobayashi said, and the curse seal came to a halt as Naruto raised an eyebrow. "You're a lucky brat. I'm going to let you live for the time being, but stay away from Tsume or I won't be responsible for what happens to her," Kobayashi said, and Naruto settled for staring at the man. "HMPH, and if you do something to her, I won't be responsible for what I'll do to you," the blonde said, and Kobayashi chuckled before nodding. "Whatever, come one Ayaka, it's time to go." "Oh, and brat," Kobayashi growled at Kiba. "Try to improve. You really need to man up if you can," he said before the two walked away. Everyone sighed after a few minutes of waiting because they couldn't feel Kobayashi's presence any longer. "Man, it was touch and go from there. Thanks for the help, Naruto," Kiba said, turning to the blonde with a small smile on his face. "Don't worry, Kiba. I can't have you die just yet because who knows what Tsume and Hana would do to me," Naruto joked, rolling his eyes as Teuya jabbed Naruto in the shoulder. "HMPH, I could have taken that guy. You didn't have to interfere," she admitted, embarrassed that Naruto thought she couldn't handle it. "I have no doubt that you did, but I did it anyway, so you can all relax for now," Naruto said as he watched Kiritsuchi leave. "What about you? I thought you wanted to kill us," he yelled, drawing everyone's attention to the dark-haired girl. And Kiritsuchi growled as she stopped her foot on the ground, causing the others to laugh. "Shut up. Can't you see I'm tired?" she demanded as everyone looked at her ripped-up clothes and her state. Kiritsuchi turned around, blushing. "Besides, you sort of saved me, so I'll let you go," she demanded, and everyone nodded as they helped her to her feet, while Kiba snickered and rubbed the back of his head. "I knew you weren't a bad person. No one as adorable as you could be that bad," he said, widening Naruto's eyes. Kiritsuchi came to a halt and scratched her cheek, her face flushed from Inuzuka's compliment. She'd never been called cute before, so it was a new experience for her, but that didn't mean she'd admit it. "Shut up and go," she said, not looking back because she didn't want them to see her blush. Kiba smiled as Naruto nodded and gathered everyone. "See you later, Kiritsuchi-chan," he said before Naruto, and everyone else vanished in the Hiraishin. And Kiritsuchi turned around to see that they were gone. She sighed and hopped to a tree, her eyes narrowed. "HMPH weirdo," she thought as she walked away from the scene to inform her grandfather. "Naruto is back." The blonde and his companions collapsed on the Konoha Road, where Shizune, Anko, and Kurenai stood. The three women, like the civilians, gasped at the sight of Konoha Shinobi. Naruto rose to his feet quickly and rubbed the back of his head. Shizune, please notify the medical staff that they will have some visitors, Naruto said. And the middle-aged secretary nodded absently before running off while Kurenai and Anko helped everyone to their feet. What happened to you guys? Anko inquired, and Naruto waved it off with a smile. I'll tell you later, he said as he went home to change his clothes. Meanwhile, Shizune escorted the medic Nin to the scene, where they assisted in the removal of everyone. After a quick change of clothes, Naruto sighed and appeared next to Anko and Kurenai. He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling a few stiff knots form. It had to be the fight, but he'd deal with it later. For the time being, he still had tasks to complete. Come with me. I'll tell you too the story on the way, Naruto said, rubbing his chin. The day was going to be long. He was certain of it. Fu, Kasumi, and Yujiro. The three had drawn a map of the cave with the strange crystals inside to guide them. They found the hole they had fallen through and assumed they were still on the Namikaze grounds. All right, which way should we go? Kasumi asked, scratching her cheek. Man, this is confusing. There should be a simpler way to do this, she said before Yujiro exclaimed. Oh, I have something I can do, she said, cracking her knuckles. Before Yujiro took out a kunai and some wire, Fu and Kasumi wondered what she was about to do. She quickly tossed it up through the hole in the ground, where it struck a tree. She smiled as she pulled hard on the wire to ensure its stability. There, we'll be fine if we all go up one at a time. Come on, Yujiro said as she climbed the wire. It was small, but it worked well and steadily. She crawled out of the hole and looked around to see if the Namikaze compound was still standing. Kasumi was the first to appear, followed by Fu. They sighed in contentment as they gazed at the warm sun. Fu sighed as Kasumi inquired, how long were we down there? 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4, she said, blushing as her stomach grumbled. Yujiro and Kasumi both laughed, and the three of them exchanged glances. Perhaps we should all get something to eat, Kasumi suggested, and the two others agreed. So, what are we having? Yujiro inquired, and Kasumi's tail wagged left and right, her face bright. I propose ramen, she exclaimed, causing Fu to smile and Yujiro to sweat. What's so great about ramen? She asked, eagerly grabbing her hand and walking away. She could understand why Naruto loved the tasty noodles so much since she could eat human food. They were fantastic in her opinion. Trust us, you've never had ramen like this before, Fu said, pushing Yujiro in the direction of the ramen stand despite her protests. The Konoha Archives. Naruto sighed as he finished the story and walked up to the Konoha Archives. He looked around to see how Anko and Kurenai were reacting. So Kobayashi is with Orochimaru. I knew he was an ass, but that's ridiculous, Anko said, and Naruto nodded. I'm still amazed, Naruto-kun, that you didn't give chase, Kurenai said, as the blonde narrowed his eyes and balled his fists. Oh, believe me, I wanted to. I really did. But I knew the others needed help, and I'm not going to chase him with how strong he is. He's somewhere right below Orochimaru in strength. If it was completely one-on-one, I doubt I could win. I tried to catch him in a Tsukuyomi, but he knows how to fight the Sharingan and directly avoided my eyes, so it'll be tough, Naruto said as Ank. Well, he'd better hope I don't fight him, I'll kick his ass, Anko yelled, making Naruto laugh while Kurenai hid her face in shame. However, you two should get ready for tonight, because it's time for me to take you two on your dates, and I'd love to see two lovely ladies in their clothes, Naruto said, making Kurenai widen her eyes as she remembered the deal with the headbands, and Anko snickered as she placed a finger to her chin. Ooh, I can't wait for it. Foxy-kun, she said, smirking as they noticed two Jonin guarding the door. Inoichi and Shibai were there. He had seen those two outside the council chamber, which was new to the blonde. Before their young Hokage stopped walking, the two Jonin noticed him. So it's your turn to guard the archives, huh? He inquired, to which they nodded. It's a tedious job, but we get it done, Inoichi said as Shibai folded his arms. It's for the best, Inoichi. Stop sighing already, Shibai said, and Inoichi did, but only because he wanted to. So, Naruto, what brings you here today? Inoichi asked, dropping the honorific because he knew the blonde didn't like such things. I need to get inside for a little while, along with Kurenai and Anko. We won't be long depending on some things, Uzumaki said to his subordinates, who nodded and opened the door before hearing a yell. When they turned around to see Sasuke running towards the blonde, Naruto rolled his eyes and sighed. Hey loser, I told you I wouldn't let you out of my sight, Sasuke said, his eyes narrowing. Uchiha, show some respect to the Hokage, Inoichi demanded, and Shibai agreed while Naruto shook his head. It's okay you guys. Thanks, but the team is like that. I just learned to deal with it. Alright Sasuke, come on then. You'll follow me into the archives, but I'll be helping me with my research that I need done. Understand? The blonde asked, and Sasuke nodded. Sekira called out, Sasuke-kun. The Uchiha paled. He gave the hidden message to Naruto, and the blonde rolled his eyes while rubbing the bridge of his nose. Inoichi-san, Shibai-san, please don't let her in here, Naruto said as he, Anko, Kurenai, and Sasuke vanished with a nod from the two Jonin. Hey, where did Sasuke-kun go? Sakura wondered as Inoichi pointed in the opposite direction and watched the pink-haired girl run away, making them sweat drop. Remind me why Naruto-sama doesn't kick her out of the Shinobi program, Inoichi said to his partner, and Shibai sighed with a faceless expression. Because it would be an abuse of power, and we both know Hokage-sama isn't like that, Shibai explained, to which Inoichi nodded. Thank you, Kami, that Ino was getting out of that phase and getting serious about her training. It made Yamanaka's head very happy. Konoha archives in Naruto. Naruto, Anko, Kurenai, and Sasuke stood in awe of the vast halls of the archives. Inside were records of every action or past action that had occurred since the village's inception. Man, this is a lot of ground to cover in such a short time that I need. Well, anyway, I'll tell you three. We're going to be searching through the archives for any records on Konoha's natural disasters, Naruto said, raising the eyebrows of the two mistresses and the Uchiha. It's something that needs to be done for the cryptanalysis division. It's sort of a small side project that I need to get done, and who knows Sasuke. You might find something interesting in here as well, but you will tell me about everything you find just as a precaution, Naruto asked, and Sasuke sighed. Yeah, I got it, Sasuke said, turning Naruto around. All right, you three, let's get to work. We have a lot of ground to cover in almost no time, Naruto said, and everyone did as they went from scroll to scroll looking through the archives. Department of Cryptanalysis. Kushina, Kyuubi, and Nanami were still assisting Shiho and Shikaku with the swords, and Yugao appeared through the door as Shikaku had summoned her to assist them. What's the matter? Yugao inquired, and Kushina raised the sword. Yugao quickly guessed what it was after noticing the unusual design. Where did you get Naruto swords? Kun's Yugao inquired, and Kushina placed one on the ground. He told us to investigate them, and as a Kenjutsu master myself, I want a second opinion. Tell me, what can you derive from these swords? Kushina asked, and Yugao shook her head. Naruto-kun had me look at them a few weeks ago during the Hokage placement test. I told him that they were really strong and very special, even more special than any Anbu's sword could be. I told him that they looked to be made by a master who really knew what they were doing. Those were made to perfection in every sense of the word, she said as Kushina sighed. Kushina might be the only one who can decipher this because she knows more about swirl symbols, Kyuubi said, and Kushina looked at it carefully before putting it down. A swirl has multiple meanings, but since we're talking about the past, I think I know. A swirl was the mystery of the water during those times. Maido Bachin once told me this saying people are ever changing just like the swirling tide of the waters, and I think that's what she meant. The swirl represents change. It's about adaptation, Kushina said, smiling. Everyone turned to look at the swirl, then at the star. Man, so bothersome. So for the star, we have the light that shines in the darkness, and for the swirl, we have change or adaptation to something. This is weird. It feels more like a prophecy if nothing else, Shikaku said, and everyone agreed with him. All right, we have those, but what's the square for? Shiho inquired. Her gaze narrowed at the small box. Hold on a minute. Let me look at that for a second, she said to them. And Shiho handed the paper to the seven-tailed Biju while her harem sister, Kyuubi, looked over her shoulder. Before they gasped, the two Biju squinted their eyes. Oh no, this is bad, very bad, they both thought simultaneously, together with Itachi and Kasama. Hurry up, Kasama, we're going to Konoha for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, Itachi said, his face puzzled. He sighed, wondering what was wrong with Itachi right now. This is against the leader's orders, and what do you have to do there anyway? Kasama asked, and Itachi came to a halt. He closed his eyes for a few moments before returning to Kasama, his partner. I'm not doing it on a whim, rather, it's something that needs to be done. But tread lightly, Kasama. You know how strong Kushina-san is because she almost killed you more than once. You still have that scar, Itachi said to him, and Kasama growled as he rubbed his chest. Don't remind me. If I see that bitch, Samehada will eat her alive, the shark man said, but Itachi ignored him for the time being. Very well then, let's go, Kasama, Itachi said, and the two took off without looking back. Late at night, Iwa, Kuretsuchi had finished her report on what had happened, and needless to say, Onoki was at a loss for words. He was relieved that his granddaughter was safe, but learning that Konoha was nearby, along with the Yondame's son, made him bitter. He was grateful to Konoha for saving his granddaughter. Are you sure that's all that happened? Onoki inquired, and Kuretsuchi sighed. She was exhausted from the day, and it was far too long for her liking. Yes, Jiji, that was everything, the dark-haired Chunin asked, and the Tsuchikage nodded. Kiritsuchi exhaled softly and rubbed the back of her neck. Well, old man, I'm not saying I can't or won't forgive him, but do you think it's right for you to despise the Yondame's son? Kiritsuchi asked, and Onoki put down his pen. He looked up at her, wondering what she was doing to make the teen gulp. I just mean that it's not his fault that we're gone, and what would killing him accomplish? Do you really think you'll get back at the Yondame by killing his son? I don't think you can get back at someone who is already dead, Kiritsuchi said, recalling Naruto and Kiba's fight with Kobayashi. They were extremely powerful, and while Kiba wasn't as powerful as Naruto, he made up for it in heart. Even when she was fighting, she didn't deal nearly as much damage as Kiba. Where did this come from? Are you starting to like Konoha? He asked, as Kiritsuchi slammed the table. Of course not. What's there to like about them? Or that idiot with the dog on his head? Who said I was thinking about him? I'm not okay, so get off my back, old man. Kiritsuchi yelled, folding her arms and turning her head with a scoff, making Onoki sweat drop. What's this about a boy with a dog on his head? And why is she being so defensive? Ugh, women and their troubles, Onoki thought to himself before slamming the door, making it cringe. Before looking out the window, Onoki sighed. Before closing his eyes, he reflected on Kiritsuchi's words. I never thought the day would come when my granddaughter would knock me out. Hell must be freezing over right now, the old Kage thought to himself before returning to his work. Naruto is involved. As many clones of the blonde were scattered around the room, scrolls littered the tables. Anko and Kurenai were also scanning the scrolls, as was Sasuke. Granted, he'd rather go train his $$ off than spend time with Naruto. But if the blonde said he'd see Itachi faster if he stayed close, he'd do it. Nothing in this one. Let's face it, this is a boring village. No natural disaster has occurred here since. Sasuke trailed off as he read a scroll. While reading the scroll, he widened his eyes and hung his mouth in the air. Hey, loser, I think I got it, yelled Sasuke as Naruto dispelled his clones. Anko and Kurenai put down their books and walked over to Sasuke as the Uchiha handed Naruto the scroll. Awesome, nice one, team, the blonde said as he unfurled the scroll, while Sasuke pointed to the specific date as Naruto read it down. Here, the 6th of June. This year, Konoha experienced its worst natural disaster. A fierce raging firestorm appeared and made its way to the village. The time of the age was of Tobirama Senju. The fire decimated the village and was called the Great Fire of Konoha. It burned through the village for 3 days, killing thousands of men, women, and children. It was thanks to Tobirama Senju's efforts that the fire finally died down. Naruto paused his reading, and Anko's eyes widened. Kurenai stared as Naruto rose to his feet. Is this what Shiho was talking about? Man, this is strange, but I'll take it for now. Well, that's it. It's late, and I need to go home. They will arrive tomorrow, so I'll stop here, Naruto said to himself before turning to face them. Alright, you guys can go home. Thanks for your help. I'm going somewhere for a bit, Naruto said as he used the Hurricane to leave the room, but not before winking at Anko and Kurenai and making them blush and giggle. Konoha Medical Center. As Naruto entered the hospital, he slipped the scroll into his pocket. He looked around the room, watching as people acknowledged him one by one, and he thanked them all. He had asked if he could see his friends, and the doctors said he could, so he did. Naruto came to a halt in front of Haku's room and, to his surprise, opened the door. He discovered her reading a small book. He smiled, while Haku looked surprised to see him staring. What are you doing here, Naruto-kun? Haku inquired, and the blonde shrugged as he sat in a chair next to the bed. I just wanted to see how you and the others were doing. You had a rough day today, Naruto said. And Haku could honestly agree with him because she had had a rough day as well, and would just like to rest. So, what are you reading? Naruto inquired, and Haku displayed the book's cover to the blonde Hokage. Despite the name, it's a good book, she said, and Naruto smiled as he placed his hand over hers, making Haku look at him strangely. What's the matter? She inquired, and Naruto sighed. I was really worried when you flared your chakra through the seal. I didn't know what had happened to you and I was just so scared when I saw you like that. Haku, I feel like you've gotten a little distant from me lately. Why is that? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow at Haku. She wasn't sure if she was avoiding the blonde, but she could tell he was desperate for an answer and she wouldn't let him down. I'm not intentionally separating myself from you, Naruto-kun. It's complicated, Haku said, and Naruto's eyes widened. What is it? Did I do something? He asked, and Haku smiled at how quickly he would try to fix a problem as if his life depended on it. No, it's not your fault, nor was it anything you did. I just didn't want to mess it up, she said quietly. But Naruto could hear her clearly. Mess what's up? he inquired, and Haku gulped from a safe distance. The relationship you and I have. I've never been in a real or even a fake relationship, so I'm scared to try and do anything, especially with the man I care about, Haku said, and Naruto's eyes widened. He smiled and softened his gaze. Really, Haku-chan, do you really think I have a fake relationship with you? Naruto inquired, and Haku quickly shook her head, as that was not what she had meant. And no, of course not, I'm just saying that Naruto kissed Haku quickly, making her gasp at the sensation. It was her very first kiss from a man. Naruto tasted Haku's lips before backing away, causing her mouth to hang up. Haku, I won't rush you, just go at your own pace here. It's not like I'm going to outcast you like some random guy would, Naruto said, kissing Haku's lips. She blushed before a smile forced its way across her face. I understand, Naruto-kun, and I'm sorry for, Naruto paused and smiled. Just get better and come back home with me, where your clan is, Naruto told her, and Haku nodded as Naruto closed the door and left Haku to her thoughts. Naruto would have gone to see Kiba, but he seemed preoccupied with Tenten and Ino. The blonde peered through the window to see the two Konoha Kunoichi squabbling over who would look after the Inuzuka, to which Kiba shook his head. When he noticed Naruto in the doorway, he smiled and waved, and the blonde did the same. He was pleased that his best friend would pay him a visit, but he knew the blonde would have to be insane to enter at this time, so Naruto quickly left. He had noticed that Kimimaro and Teuya were both sleeping. The blonde figured he could help them both train because removing their curse seals meant a significant drop in power for them both. But on that note, the blonde was about to leave the hospital when Tsume and Hana pulled him to the side. Both of them had serious expressions on their faces, as if this was no time to joke around. Please don't lie to me, Naruto-kun. Did you and Kiba meet Kobayashi today? Tsume inquired, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. He turned to face Hana, who nodded before turning away. He could never lie to Tsume, and if he did, he was terrible at it. He was too honest a person to try it with the girls he adored. Yeah, I did. Kiba and Haku met him unexpectedly near one of Orochimaru's bases. As far as I was told, they fought with him, but Kobayashi was too strong, and he almost killed Kiba if I hadn't arrived, Naruto said, causing Hana and Tsume to widen their eyes and the latter to snarl. When Naruto said that, she clenched her teeth. She was on the verge of losing her son to his own father. Tsume trembled, but Naruto's next words seemed to have calmed her down. Once I got there, I fought him for a while. I'll say this, Tsume-chan. He's strong because he managed to stay on even terms with what I threw at him, and yet he wasn't using all of his curse mark. I'm going to deal with this, Naruto said, and Tsume and Hana both widened their eyes. No, you're not. That's my job. I should have done it a long time ago, but Kobayashi will be handled by me. This is my fight, Tsume said, his eyes narrowing. Hana sighed as she watched her mother walk away, but Naruto clenched his fists. Tsume, I'm not losing you or Hana to anyone. I said I'd take care of it, Naruto exclaimed, and Tsume came to a halt. This is an Inuzuka matter, Naruto. I can't let you interfere in my business, Tsume said, widening Naruto's eyes. The Inuzuka clan's leader closed her eyes and walked away, while Naruto bit his lower lip until it bled. Tsume, as your Hokage, I order you to stand down and let me deal with it, Naruto yelled, drawing a gasp from Hana and bringing Tsume to a halt. She lowered her head and balled her fists slowly. Naruto sighed as he closed his eyes to see how she would react. Yes, Hokage-sama, Tsume replied, prompting Naruto to open his eyes. As she walked away, he could hear the hurt and sadness in her voice. Hana squirmed slightly as Naruto sighed. Don't feel bad about it, Naruto-kun. I think you did the right thing. Ka-chan is reckless when it comes to 2-chan. Trust me, she doesn't want you to get involved in something she feels she should naturally deal with, Hana said before walking off to catch up with her mother. Ka-chan, she began, but Tsume remained silent and continued to walk away as Hana sighed. Their first fight. Hana understood that there was a first time for everything, but she could have handled it better. Naruto sighed and rubbed the back of his neck. That had to be the most difficult thing he'd ever had to say to Tsume. He simply wanted her to understand that she didn't have to handle everything on her own, and that, no matter how tough she pretended to be, she could rely on him for a variety of other things. Great, that's just great for me, isn't it? Oh well, I guess I'll go get ready. Can't keep Anko and Kurenai waiting. Plus I've got a long night of Fuinjutsu to do with Yujiro-chan. Yeah, just perfect, Naruto said half-heartedly, wanting to run up to Tsume and kiss her again like he always could, but he couldn't. Not until she calmed down, at the very least. So, on that note, Naruto walked away, the remnants of the conversation fading into oblivion. In collaboration with Kobayashi, the Inuzuka arrived at the closest base and took a seat in the same room as Kabuto and Orochimaru. When the two looked at him, they noticed he was in a great mood. What makes you so happy? Kabuto inquired, and Kobayashi smirked as he looked at the wall. I fought that brat today. He's quite good, but if I had gone with the second stage, he'd have died, Kobayashi said before Orochimaru spoke. Don't underestimate him, Kobayashi-kun. Now, let's make that death certain. Kabuto the vial, Orochimaru said, as Kobayashi watched Kabuto hand the vial to the snake Sannin. Come here, Kobayashi, Orochimaru said, and the Sannin's left-hand man came over and took the vial from him. This will give you the third and most improved stage. You will be the guinea pig. If you survive, you will gain power beyond comparison. If you do not, you will die, Orochimaru said as Kobayashi opened the vial. He closed his eyes and smiled at it. You can't go through life without taking risks, he said as he drank the liquid inside quickly. Before Kobayashi crushed the vial, Orochimaru and Kabuto stood there watching him finish. Nothing happened for a few minutes, making everyone tense. Ah, Kobayashi exclaimed as he fell to the ground. He coughed and exhaled heavily. He felt like his life was coming to an end before he pushed his eyes to the back of his head and died. Wow, I guess he didn't survive, Kabuto said, his eyes narrowing. Psyche, the man said as he rose to his feet, a smile on his face. Orochimaru closed his eyes as Kabuto's brow twitched. That's why he liked Kobayashi so much. Despite the circumstances, the man knew how to crack a good joke now and then. So you don't feel any different? Kabuto inquired, and Kobayashi shrugged his shoulders. No, not really, I don't feel any different. Kobayashi came to a halt as his heart beat. It pumped again, this time louder, as the seal on his arm changed and began to twist and turn. He clutched his chest and groaned in pain. Some blood seeped from it, causing the seal to glow a darkish purple before fading away. Orochimaru stood to his feet as Kobayashi's heart stopped. How do you feel now? He asked, smiling as he closed his eyes. Terrific. I know exactly who to test this power on, Kobayashi said as he and Ayakamaru exited the room, leaving the Inuzuka with one thought. I'm coming home, Sum-chan, and you better be ready to greet the kids again, Kobayashi said evilly. Next morning, Konoha. Naruto was signing papers as usual to keep himself occupied. Actually, last night was quite eventful. He'd managed to distract himself from Tsume for a while, and teaching Yujiro the Fuinjutsu was even more of a mind game. He was glad she had some understanding of it because he would have broken down that day if she hadn't, but he could dwell on that later. For the time being, he was content to be busy. He figured he'd give Tsume some alone time. He never intended for her to be sad. A knock on the door soon jolted the blonde out of his reverie. Come in, he said, bowing to Kurenai. Naruto-kun, Mei Terumi-sama has arrived, Kurenai announced, and the blonde rose to his feet. He sighed and smiled as he rubbed the back of his neck. All right, then send her in, Naruto instructed his secretary, and Kurenai nodded as she walked away. Naruto continued to write in some papers before the door opened, revealing Kiri's Mizukage, which caused him to blush. Mei and her companions Chijiro and Ao stood before Naruto, taking in the young blonde's appearance. This is Konoha's Hokage. Ridiculous, Ao thought as Chijiro gulped. Wow, he must be strong. He's about my age, Chijiro reasoned as Mei formed her own opinion of the blonde behind the desk. He's even cuter in person, I could eat him up, she thought before smiling and bowing lightly. It's a pleasure to be in the presence of Konoha's Hokage. Thank you for seeing me. Hokage dono, Mei said, her voice elegant and sultry, making Naruto tremble. The pen in his hand began to shake from twitching as the blonde gulped before rising to his feet. I was surprised to learn that the Mizukage wanted to see me, and even more surprised that she was so beautiful, Naruto complimented, making Mei widen her visible eye before blushing with a small smile. How can you talk to Mizukage-sama so casually? You should take that back, Ao exclaimed, making Chijiro sweat drop despite the fact that he saw nothing wrong with it. Ao, calm down. I really appreciated being complimented by such a young, cute, and powerful young man, she said, smiling at Naruto. Ao and Chijiro exchanged glances before sighing as they watched the two interact. So, what can I do for you today? Naruto inquired, and Mei simply smiled. Well, would you mind giving me a tour of your lovely village, Hokage dono? She asked casually, and Naruto laughed lightly and nodded. Sure, but just call me Naruto Mizukage-san, I don't like formalities, the blonde said to the auburn-haired woman, and Mei nodded. Very well, then you may refer to me as Mei Terumi as you see fit. Now then, Ao, Chijiro, please get settled. I'll be taking my time with this one, Mei said, wrapping an arm around Naruto's left hand, making him blush before dragging him out the door. Naruto only managed to create a cage bunshin to handle his work as he left. Along with Mei and Naruto, the two Kage walked through the streets of Konoha. Naruto took Mei to all of the beautiful sights that Konoha had to offer to anyone who wanted to visit or stay there. He took her to the hot springs, where she had asked him to join her in a hot bath, to which the blonde blushed but ultimately denied, making May pout a little. But she accepted it and found it rather endearing that he was so endearing and respectful of her person, which made him very nice. Finally, Naruto climbed to the top of the Hokage stone faces, specifically the Yondame's head, to show her the entire village. What a nice view this place has, May said, and Naruto had to agree, even if the view made him a little sad because Tsume wasn't there to see the village. May smiled as she noticed his shift in attitude. "What's the matter?" she inquired, and Naruto sighed. "Just got into a small fight with my girlfriend," Naruto explained, and May's mood dimmed as she heard the word girlfriend. "Do you have a girlfriend?" she inquired, rubbing the back of Naruto's head. "Well, more like girlfriends, CRA and all that," Naruto said, brightening May's mood even more because she had no problem sharing anyone, and, for some strange reason, Naruto could tell she was interested in that. Maybe it was just a gut feeling. "So, what's the issue?" they inquired, and Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. He told her the whole story about Tsume and himself, as well as her asshole ex-mate Kobayashi. May had obviously heard the man because he was one of Orochimaru's associates. "And that's why she's mad at me," Naruto explained, and May chuckled as she rested her hand on her hip. "I suppose the life of a couple isn't easy. While I believe you made the right choice, I don't think you believe it. You seem like a strong young man who is well matured for his age. I think a situation like this is one you're not familiar with. Let's see, I've heard of the Inuzuka clan and their stubbornness in dealing with their own issues. It's been since last night, so yeah, we can easily fix this up, but it's not going to get me killed, is it?" he asked, and May didn't respond because she let his mind wander before telling him the idea. Naruto widened his eyes before turning to May, who nodded with a confident smile on her face. Featuring Tsume and Yuzuka, Tsume trudged through the village with a scowl on her face, clearly unhappy. She'd never been ordered like that before, let alone by Naruto, and now she'd summoned him to the Hokage mansion for something to discuss, which she didn't want to do. But she had no choice, so she went up the flight of stairs before knocking on the door. "Come in," he said, opening the door. She quickly shut it as she noticed Naruto doing his paperwork. He looked up for a split second to see Tsume staring at him with indifference and a hint of anger, but he dismissed it as he deserved some of it. Tsume narrowed her eyes and grew a tick mark after seeing the blonde ignore her for paperwork. This guy called her out just to waste her time waiting for him to respond. What kind of joke was this in the first place? "Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but what do you want with me?" Tsume inquired as Naruto completed his paperwork. He rose from his seat and placed a pile on the floor. He approached the window and opened it. He let a cool breeze into the office, and Tsume seemed to be feeling a little better as a result. "Isn't it a nice day?" he asked, smiling, and Tsume raised an eyebrow. She sighed and rested her hand on her hip. "I guess, are you going to tell me what you want or can I leave?" she asked, rather rudely, but Naruto ignored her for the time being. He waved his hand, and Tsume felt the presence of the Anbu leave the room before returning her gaze to Naruto, who smiled. He approached her and closed his eyes. "Do you think you can beat me?" Naruto inquired, and Tsume raised an eyebrow. Tsume growled as Naruto simply smiled at her. "Is that a trick question?" she asked, amused despite her mood, as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. "It is what you think it is. Do you think you can beat me?" he asked, to which Tsume laughed. "Don't get ahead of yourself. I can beat you," she said, setting a timer on the desk. He set it to 30 minutes and smiled as he indicated the door. "Out there is Kobayashi and Yuzuka, and I'm the thing standing in your way. You have 30 minutes to try and get past me, and if you do it once, I'll apologize for anything I said last night and I'll let you go unhindered by anything. Tsume-chan, I want you to be happy, and if letting you go after Kobayashi will make you happy, then I'll let you go, but my heart and my duties are different. If I have to," she said as she charged at the door, but Naruto easily stopped her and flung her back. Tsume growled at the blonde before charging again, but it was in vain. The entire 30 minutes had been used up, and Tsume cursed as the clock struck 12. Naruto paused and smiled. "I'm glad," he said, as Tsume panted and narrowed her eyes at him. Her hair was a tangle, to say the least, but you get the idea. "And why is that? Why are you happy, Hokage-sama?" she asked, slightly irritated, and Naruto simply smiled and scratched his cheek. "I'm glad you didn't want to get out so badly that you used a ferocious attack on me. I doubt I could have stopped that at close range," Naruto said, widening Tsume's eyes. "You didn't want to hurt me, even if it meant getting Kobayashi?" Naruto asked, and Tsume looked at the ground. "No, I didn't. That's not the Inuzuka way, and I don't want to hurt you," Tsume said, as Naruto assisted her to her feet. "Then Tsume-chan, if you don't want to hurt me, don't go after him. If I know his ass like I think I do, he'll show up here for sure someday," Naruto said to her, and Tsume smiled. When did you become such a smooth talker? She inquired, as the blonde closed his eyes. Around the time I discovered how sexy you could be, Naruto replied, and Tsume growled seductively. What are you saying? She inquired, and Naruto smiled as he surveyed the scene. No, Anbu, work's all done, doors locked, and a privacy seal is around the room. Should I say anything else? He asked, and Tsume chuckled before laughing and smiling. I'm sorry, I let my pride as an Inuzuka and a mother get in the way. Tsume apologized, and Naruto waved it away. Well, I knew you didn't mean it, and the way you walked away from me yesterday showed me that you wanted me to go after you, Naruto said, and Tsume's eyes widened. No, it didn't, she exclaimed, smirking. Oh yes, he said to her, and Tsume chemfed before smiling, while Naruto sat at his desk and folded his arms. Tsume-chan, I can honestly say he'll come here. Don't worry, we'll just take him down together. It'll be a good way to show him the power of the Uzumaki Namikaze and Inuzuka clan along with his wife, Naruto said, and Tsume considered marrying Naruto. If we take any more names, we'll be able to form our own squad, Tsume said, raising an eyebrow at Naruto. Tsume's eyes widened as he grinned maniacally. You're not seriously thinking that, are you? She asked, smiling. I'm not sure, he said evilly as Tsume turned his chair around. As she straddled him, she smiled. Well, since you've put me in this position, I'll do one of my fantasies now, she said, making Naruto blush before kissing him and closing her eyes. She quickly devoured his lips as Naruto turned his right hand to the window and gave a thumbs up to Mei, who was watching the entire thing unfold and couldn't help but grin. I should have been a counselor. Well, I guess I'll get my reward later. Now then, time to go and try that gambling hall, then I can negotiate a treaty to that cutie when he's done with his business, Mei thought to herself before hopping off while Naruto's office was filled with moans that lasted quite a long time. But little did they all know how precious their time together would be as, after a while, Naruto jerked awake in his chair as he noticed Tsume laying on top of him. He laughed as he observed her sleeping on him as if it were natural. Their makeup session was intense and would have been heard by the entire Konoha if Naruto hadn't thought ahead with that privacy seal. But he was also relieved that Tsume was smiling again. Speaking of Tsume, the Inuzuka lady opened her eyes to be greeted by the young blonde Hokage's warm smile. Tsume returned his smile before kissing his cheek. You're quite aggressive, aren't you? She inquired, and Naruto rose from his seat. Only with you, Inuheim, so what are you going to do? Naruto inquired, and Tsume tapped her chin before rising to her feet. Naruto and she both buttoned their shirts. Well, I guess I'll wait for that bastard to arrive if you're right, and I also think I'll go check on Kiba now that I have the time. Okay, Naruto-kun, she asked, and the blonde nodded. Not Hokage-sama this time, he inquired, rubbing the back of Tsume's head. You know me better than that, pup, she said as she opened the door and exited the room, leaving Naruto alone. The blonde sighed and quickly dressed before returning his Hokage robe to the chair. He decided to get up and leave as well because he needed to find Mei. Who knows what she was doing at the time? Now that Naruto had to think about it, Mizukage was quite adorable. She appeared to be both playful and mature in her own right. He also had to remember that he was dealing with a Kage, and whether she was a woman or not, she was the real deal in comparison to him. Even though he was the Hokage, he wondered if he was of Kage rank. He could think about it later. If I recall correctly, she might be gambling, which for all I know is right near the bars because Tsunade Bachin had those things installed near her office, Naruto said as he exited the office and walked down the street. He sighed as he heard people's murmurs as they looked at him. He'd be talked about whether he was a village pariah or the Hokage. Greetings, Hokage-sama, said some civilians in the blonde. They all seemed sincere, but he could still hear some other remarks. To think someone so young is our Hokage. He must be good. Are you kidding? He's still that damn brat who played tricks on us. I don't know what Tsunade-sama was thinking, Naruto said, rolling his eyes at all the comments. He could have done something about them, but he let them think whatever they wanted because it was their right. Naruto continued walking through the village before turning to the right and noticing a gambling establishment. When the blonde noticed Mei Terumi near a slot machine and buckets of money, he sighed and rubbed his eyes. Mei smiled as the people around her gasped at her winning streak. It's too easy, she remarked as she drew the lever and won another jackpot. She smiled as the money rolled out on her before she noticed Naruto behind her. If you keep doing that, Konoha will be in debt because of you, Naruto warned her, and Mei chuckled before stepping out of her seat and depositing her money in a few scrolls. It's not my intention, Naruto-san, I just like to get some money when I can, she explained, and the blonde simply nodded as he walked out, leaving Mei behind. They tapped Naruto on the shoulder as the two Kage walked down the street. So I take it that my plan worked out well. she inquired, and Naruto chuckled. I've never been so grateful in my life, Mei-san. So what reward do you want? Naruto asked, and Mei put a finger to her chin. She paused for a few seconds before giving Naruto her usual warm smile. Then take me on a late night walk around the village. It must be nice to see this place at night, she said, raising an eyebrow at Naruto. He considered it, and since he didn't have any plans at the time, it was fine with him. Alright then, I'll take you on one. I'll see you in a bit, he said before walking away. And Mei decided to spend the rest of the day with Ao and Chijiro, along with Sasuke. The Uchiha heir sighed as he looked around the village. He needed to bulk up. He needed to train, and he needed it now. He had felt his desire for power dwindle since learning about Itachi, but what did he need? Was it retaliation? He didn't have it any longer. Damn it, what's the matter with me? What am I missing? He wondered before feeling a tap on his shoulder. When he saw his old sensei, Genma Shiranui, the Uchiha heir turned his head and widened his eyes. You? He inquired, and the Hokage's bodyguard sighed and rubbed the back of his head. Never thought I'd see you in such a state, Sasuke, Genma said, and Sasuke scowled at the ground. He balled his fists, and Genma could tell Sasuke was upset about his situation. Go ahead and laugh. What does it matter anymore? I lost my reasons to get stronger. I want to hate Itachi. I want to hate this village, but I know I can't. Why does Naruto, the loser, the dead last, get all the power? Why does he get to be Hokage? What does he have that I don't? Sasuke asked, his eyes narrowing. He would have reprimanded Sasuke for disrespecting the Hokage, but he could do that later. For the time being, he felt compelled to assist his student. Follow me, Sasuke, Genma said as he walked away. Before following his former sensei, Sasuke watched him leave. As the two walked through the village center, Genma waved to the smiling civilians and his fellow shinobi. As Genma smiled, Sasuke observed all of the interactions. The smiles on people's faces, the meeting of your friends knowing they are safe, the serene feeling of it all. Sasuke, what do you call it? Genma inquired, raising an eyebrow as he observed people conversing with smiles on their faces. I don't know, he admitted, and Genma chuckled and nodded. Well, you're young, so you wouldn't know just yet, but this is called peace. It's something every nation strives for. It's something we all want to protect with our lives. Once you find something to protect, that's when you grow strong. Sasuke, Naruto-sama has always been looked down upon. He had no one at a young age, but then he found friends. He gets angry when they're hurt. You really believe that protecting someone is strength? He asked, and Genma smiled. I know the Uchiha way is survival of the fittest. If you're weak, then you're left behind. But that's not Naruto's way. And you see that firsthand right now, Genma said, and Sasuke sighed while the man spoke. You know, Naruto-sama told me these words one time. He said, and Sasuke listened. Flashback. Naruto stood on top of the Hokage mansion rooftops with Genma behind him. The blonde looked down at the village and simply smiled away. He felt giddy for some reason that he wasn't sure of, and it made Genma look at him strangely. He could never understand the way that Naruto thought before he asked a question. Naruto, would you mind indulging me a bit? Genma asked, and Naruto turned around. A small breeze came through and lifted his jacket to the air. What is it, Genma-san? Naruto asked as he turned around to face the village while Genma sighed. He was rather happy that Naruto would answer this question, as he just really wanted to know it for some reason. He just had to know. Why? Why is it that you can smile and be cheery after all the things that the village did to you because of your burden? It's just so amazing how strong you are. I mean, Tokubetsu Jonin at 13 and Hokage at 14. How can you manage it all? Genma asked, and Naruto looked down at the village again. He closed his eyes and smiled as he turned to Genma. Don't give up. It's just the weight of the world. When the heart's heavy, I can lift it because I know what's important to me. Titles mean nothing to me anymore as much as protecting what's important to me. I just want to be heard by all my loved ones. I broke the silence of wanting to stay the village pariah. I want to be understood and be heard by my village. You know, everyone wants acceptance. It's never good to give up. I love this village so much. My precious people are here, and I swore I would protect them. They burn within my soul. When there is darkness around them, I want to be the light that draws it away. I always tried to hide my pain, but I turned it into strength. Genma, I want to protect this village with my dying breath. How about you? Naruto asked, and Genma widened his eyes. He looked at the ground in shock of Naruto's words. He's so young and yet he's this smart. It's no wonder he's so strong, Genma thought before he got back to Naruto's question. I completely agree with you. This village isn't so bad and it's very peaceful here. I want to protect it all, Genma said, and Naruto nodded with a sure smile on his face. Genma, this village is loved. I will never give up, and neither should you, Dadabeo, Naruto said, and Genma quickly nodded as he and Naruto left the rooftops to go inside. End flashback. He said that to you? Sasuke asked, and Genma nodded as they walked towards a small little shop. Sasuke, you might be disrespectful, arrogant, prideful, and an all-around jerk, but you're a member of Konoha and it's going to stay that way, Genma said, and Sasuke looked at the ground while the Hokage bodyguard took Sasuke into the shop. The two walked through a small door in the back and went down the basement. Down there was a door that Genma opened and he walked inside while Sasuke followed him inside. Sasuke gasped at the sight of a waterfall and a small little island of land where there was a pond of koi fish swimming around. Train with me here, Sasuke, and I can assure you that you will find what you're looking for, Genma said, and Sasuke nodded. He narrowed his eyes and sighed. Something to protect, huh? He thought before he balled his fist. Then please teach me, Genma-sensei. I want to get stronger, Sasuke said, and Genma closed his eyes as he rubbed the back of his head. This is gonna be so much work, Genma thought to himself before he and Sasuke got started. Naruto is involved. The blonde was currently in the house in the living room. He seemed to be the only one around at the moment and simply let the silence wash over him. He slowly sighed and closed his eyes as he opened his hands. He concentrated for a few minutes before and allowed his image of a kunai come into his mind. His chakra flared indefinitely, and before long a large kunai came into his hands and the blonde smiled. Well, I still have that down. Now let's try the yang release again, Naruto said to himself before he closed his eyes again. He pictured his chakra flowing into the weapons that he created and sighed. He then opened his eyes, but the kunai did nothing and the blonde cursed. He did it again as he closed his eyes. Kyuubi told him to feel that life energy going into the weapon. But what was that supposed to mean? How could he change his chakra into yang release chakra that would help him out? Hyuso, this is freaking difficult, Naruto said before he sent 2 clones to go and practice his Mokyuten release for the moment. He would need to get that down in the future, and now that the blonde thought about it, he could always have some more work with his Fuinjutsu, so Naruto scattered some more clones to do that for him while he tried to work with his yang release, which wasn't turning up that many successful results, if any. The blonde groaned out his complaints before ultimately sighing. What am I doing wrong? Naruto wondered before he heard the doorknob twist. He saw it open and immediately the blonde watched Fu, Kasumi, and Yujiro come through the room. See, I told you Ikaraku's ramen was awesome, Kasumi said as her tail waged around. Yujiro sighed with a nod, but she couldn't refute the dog girl's words. Not at all. That ramen was easily the best ramen that Yujiro had ever had in her life. Soon all 3 girls noticed Naruto looking at them weirdly before Kasumi ran up and quickly laid in the blonde's lap while she wrapped her arms around his neck. Greetings, Naruto-sama. How have you been? Kasumi asked, and before Naruto could respond to her question, she quickly kissed him, shocking Yujiro and Fu at the same time before jealousy came over them both. That little sneak, Fu said while Yujiro folded her arms with a nod. Come to think of it, she hadn't even kissed Naruto yet, and that made her rather edgy. Kasumi let go of the kiss and Naruto gasped. It's good to see you, Kasumi-chan. I've been well, so how have you girls been? Naruto asked, and Fu smiled. Oh, doing girl stuff. Although I could use a good mission right now, Fu said, and Naruto tapped his cheek. You know you aren't really considered a Konoha shinobi yet, Naruto told her, and Fu paled. What? She asked, and Naruto smiled as he held out a Konoha headband. Well, you were only staying here due to me taking responsibility over you with my clan status. You weren't really instated as a Konoha shinobi. So what do you say? Naruto asked her, and Fu quickly grabbed the headband and wrapped it around her waist. She smiled as she kissed Naruto on the cheek. Now am one right? She asked, and Naruto nodded before turning to Yujiro. How about you, Nikoheim? He asked, and Yujiro blushed at the pet name before she scratched her cheek. She chuckled nervously at Naruto's question, and the blonde shook his head at her. Well, no rush for now, Naruto told her, and Yujiro merely nodded with a silent word of thanks to her fiancé for not rushing her decision. Soon the blonde stood to his feet and stretched his legs. He yawned for a bit and went to get some water while Kasumi and Fu looked to see the clones training in the backyard. Soon a bit of inspiration hit the dog girl the hardest as she quickly ran up to Naruto and grabbed his arm. Naruto-sama, can you help me create a new taijutsu technique? Kasumi asked, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. Kasumi gave a cheery smile while Naruto took a drink of water. I'm alright then. What brought this one? Naruto asked, and Kasumi's tail wagged left and right. Call it inspiration, she said, keeping her purely innocent smile, and Naruto chuckled. He decided to take a small break from his training and sat on the table. Fu and Yujiro were really surprised that Kasumi would want to create a taijutsu move, but more why she didn't want a ninjutsu one. Ni Kasumi-chan, why don't you ask for something in regards to ninjutsu? Fu asked, and Kasumi sighed. Well, the Inuzuka aren't really made for carrying chakra and we can't do moves like those. The only ninjutsu move that I can learn, thankfully, is the Cage Bunshin technique. That's also only because Kyuubi Chakra Samas is circulating through my body. I don't think I can learn anything else, Kasumi said while Fu and Yujiro gasped in understanding. Naruto took out a piece of papers and placed it on the table. Alright Kasumi-chan, let me see if I can't help you out with what you want, Naruto said, and Kasumi yipped, and that seemed to be a verbal tick for her which made the others smile or laugh at her. Kasumi blushed at it while Naruto turned to her. Alright, for this taijutsu, does it utilize chakra? Naruto asked, and Kasumi nodded with a smile while the blonde wrote across the paper. Yeah, it does, Naruto-sama, Kasumi replied, and the blonde nodded. Are you using your legs, hands, or both? Naruto asked her, and Kasumi smiled again. Legs, of course, she said, and Naruto continued to write on the paper. Fu and Yujiro seemed confused, but let their blonde clan head work on Kasumi's jutsu while he asked another question. Offensive or defensive? He asked. Although all taijutsu should have an appropriate defense, he still wanted to know it for future purposes. Alright, offensive, she said, and Naruto nodded before he smiled at what she might be getting at. Utilizes speed or power or the balance of both? He asked, and Kasumi sighed at the long list of questions. She visibly groaned, making everyone chuckle. Alright, utilizes both, she said, and Naruto nodded as he put the finishing touches on what she might have wanted. But for that, he would need help from the two people that he would never want set their feet in his house, but he had no choice. He snapped his fingers and an Anbu came behind him while Naruto comically cried. Bring me Guy and Lee, Naruto said, sounding defeated, and the Anbu left the room while Kasumi shuddered. Naruto-sama, I don't really need a move after all. I'll just go with what I have, Kasumi said fast, but Naruto patted her on the shoulder. I wish you luck, Kasumi-chan, and I will do all in my power to make them help you without you losing your mind, Naruto told her, and Kasumi gulped. Yujiro seemed confused and looked to Fu for an explanation, to which the Nanabi Jinchuriki sighed. You'll understand once they get here, Fu said, and Yujiro wondered if something was coming that was beyond her comprehension. About 5 minutes later, Naruto and Kasumi shuddered as they heard a knock on the door. The blonde walked towards it and sighed. He opened it, and immediately he was met with the two weirdest shinobi in the world. The green jumpsuit-clad shinobi looked at Naruto and gave him a thumbs up. Hey Hokage-sama, are you the one who summoned us on this fine and very why? Naruto stopped Guy and allowed the two to come inside. I'll say this now, Guy, Lee. Kasumi-chan wants to create a new taijutsu move as well as learn a few others. I would really like you to help her, Naruto said, and Guy gave a smile while his teeth shined, making the three girls sweat drop. Aw sensei, Kasumi-chan wants to follow us in our footsteps, Lee said, and Guy nodded as he quickly shook Kasumi's hand. It's nice to meet such a youthful girl so enthusiastic about taijutsu. Come young one and we will do our exercises until our hearts give out, Guy said, and Kasumi just nodded dumbly. I really don't think that. Kasumi was interrupted by Naruto, who patted Guy and Lee's shoulders. Alright, Rule 1. You are to not say anything about youth for the entire duration of Kasumi's training. Rule 2. You will not hug each other in her presence or ever. Rule 3. You take it seriously. Naruto's voice thundered, making Guy and Lee nod. Yes, Hokage-sama, they said, and Naruto sighed as he patted Kasumi's shoulders before turning back to Guy and Lee. And if I see Kasumi wearing anything green, I will personally extinguish you both on the spot. Understood? He asked, and they all nodded while the blonde sighed. Alright, Kasumi-chan, you go with them and learn all you can, Naruto told her, and Kasumi hesitantly walked away with Guy and Lee while the blonde closed the door. You sent her to the lion's den, you know that, right? Fu asked, and Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I really hope this was a good idea, Naruto said, and Fu shook her head while Yujiro sported a confused expression. I'm afraid I don't understand, Yujiro said to them both, and Naruto looked to her. If you don't know, then it's all the more better that way. Trust me, you're the only pure one who hasn't seen ... it, Naruto said ominously before walking away into the kitchen, leaving Yujiro in the dark while Fu turned to her. A jutsu so power, so horrible, so ... so terrible that it was labeled an SSS rank technique. It is the strongest genjutsu in the world, even stronger than Naruto Tsukuyomi. Cons for your sanity, don't face it, Fu said before leaving, and Yujiro raised an eyebrow before the three heard a hard pound on the door. It was very fast and hard while Fu opened the door. She saw Nana and Kanari come through the door and both huffed. Where is Naruto-kun? Kyuubi asked fervently, and Fu immediately pointed to the kitchen. Kyuubi ran that way, and Nanabi turned to Yujiro. Yujiro-san, I'm sorry, but we really need Nibai-chan out here, Nanabi said, and Yujiro widened her eyes while Nibai seemed rather confused by all that was going on. What do they need me for? Nibai thought to herself while Yujiro responded. Why? She asked while Fu raised an eyebrow. Yeah, what's going on? The Nanabi Jinchuriki asked, and Nanabi turned to her friend and former jailer. I'll have to tell you later, but for now please trust me and release Nibai, Nanabi said, and Yujiro shook her head. But I don't know how to. I only started Fuinjutsu training just a day ago, she said, and Nanabi cursed while Kyuubi brought Naruto to the living room. Please Naruto-kun, we need you to do it. It's important, Kyuubi said, and Naruto narrowed his eyes at her. He wasn't going to not trust Kyuubi on what was important or not. But not many things could get her that frantic about something, so this must be big. Kyuubi-chan, what's going on? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi sighed. Naruto-kun, I promise to tell you, but for now just trust me and Nanabi. We really need Nibai out, Kyuubi said, and Naruto closed his eyes. He thought for a few seconds and nodded. Well, it's your call, Yujiro-chan. Naruto said to Kyuubi, and Nanabi gave her their best pleading look. Yujiro looked at them both and saw the distress in their eyes. Well, if it's important then okay, she said as she lifted up her shirt. Kyuubi and Nanabi breathed a sigh of relief while Naruto rubbed Yujiro's seal, making her blush a little, and the blonde made 5 white seals. He slammed them on Yujiro's seal and the blonde winced before she was covered in white light. Naruto quickly made a clone and directed the light into the clone. Everyone covered their eyes for a little bit, and before long they all stared at a beautiful woman with ocean blue hair that ran down her shoulders. She wore a dark kimono just like Kyuubi and Nanabi. She wore some sandals to complete the look. She wore a dark blue sash around her waist and smiled. Ugh, I'd celebrate my getting out, but I take it this is an emergency, she asked, making Kyuubi and Nanabi nod fast while Nibai sighed. Alright, kitten, and you, I'll see you later, Nibai said to Naruto. The blonde gulped and blushed as she kissed his cheek and smiled seductively. Thank you for releasing me, you little cutie, she said as Kyuubi and Nanabi twitched their brows before grabbing Nibai's shoulders and sprinting out the door, Nibai waving goodbye as they closed the door with Naruto, Fu, and Yujiro staring. What just happened? Fu inquired, but no one had an answer for her, while Naruto decided to assist Yujiro with more of her Fuinjutsu training for the day until night fell, together with Kyuubi, Nanabi, and Nibai. Before Nibai could stop them, the two Biju dashed to the cryptanalysis department with their third one. Would you both mind telling me what's going on? She asked, pausing long enough for Kyuubi and Nanabi to respond. Coming. We know it, Nanabi said, raising an eyebrow before throwing her hands in the air. Who's coming? What's going on? Nibai inquired as Kyuubi gazed at the ground. Sato Saranzo. He's here on Earth, Kyuubi said to Nibai, who raised an eyebrow. Who is Sato Saranzo? She inquired, and Nanabi frowned before sighing. What do you mean, who is it? Think, Nibai. Think really hard about it, Nanabi said, closing her eyes. She racked her brain for an answer to her question, left and right. The name felt familiar to Nibai, but she couldn't remember it for the life of her until it hit her on the head. When she saw Kyuubi and Nanabi, the Biju paled and gasped. No way. That's impossible. You know as well as I do that we took care of him with the Rikudo Senin, Nibai said. And Kyuubi growled before finally calming down. Well, he's returned in some way, and it won't be long before we have to deal with him, Kyuubi said as the three Biju dashed off to Konoha's cryptanalysis division. Along with Sato Saranzo, the mysterious man walked through the Oto forests, looking around. He grumbled in frustration before grabbing his sword and slashing it at a tree, severing it in half and making a loud noise. Where are they? I've checked all the previous locations and they're nowhere to be found, Sato exclaimed as his pupils constricted. 6 signatures surrounded him before he was surrounded by bandits. They all laughed evilly at him as the swordsman closed his eyes. Hey Nyai-chan, drop your good and beat it before we kill you, one of them said, as Sato displayed a kai that made them all flinch. HMPH, you mortals and your threats. You have nothing to base it on. Why should I ever be afraid of you weakasses? Sato asked, as they all glared at him and one walked up to him, twirling a kunai. Look here buddy, you're outnumbered and outmatched, so why don't I just take your money and go before I mess up that pretty face of yours? The man said, slapping Sato on the cheek. The mysterious man's hair framed his eyes before grabbing the leader's arm and effectively snapping it in half, causing him to yell. Don't touch me, you trash, he said before drawing his sword and disappearing behind the bandit leader. He sheathed his sword as blood poured from the bandit's body until he died on the ground. Before Sato turned to face them, the bandits exclaimed, now listen here, you are all going to do as I say or I'll kill you right here, just like your lord, Sato said to them all. And most resigned themselves to laughing at the man before one charged at him. Sato closed his eyes as he swooped in. Die by my hand, yelled the bandit before coming to a halt and noticing a dark purplish aura wrapping itself around Sato's sword. He glared at the man before piercing his body and pinning him to a tree in an instant. The man's body began to decay until he was nothing more than a sack of bones when he died. Sato licked his lips before looking around. Does anyone else want to try their hand at being a god? Sato asked, and everyone gulped before moving away from him, causing Sato to smile as he sheathed his sword. He sighed as he looked at them all. You will all obey my orders from now on. Betray me, and it will be your heads. Now, tell me what any of you know about swords, he said to them. And one person stood up. We don't know anything. Sato-sama, he said, closing his eyes. Useless mortals. Fine, then tell me where the most powerful place is, Sato said, raising everyone's eyebrows. There is a place that is said to be protected by a god and an angel, one of the bandits said, and Sato narrowed his eyes. Is that correct? Then we're off to Aimgakure, Sato said, and the bandits paled. But Sato-sama, why? Asked someone, and he smiled. If someone claims to be a god there, I'll go see if he has what I'm looking for, Sato said as he walked away, the bandits hesitantly following him towards Aimgakure. They didn't know why, but they were all following him anyway. Nightfall has arrived in Konoha. All right, Yujiro-chan, we'll end your lesson here, Naruto said as he saw Yujiro fall to the floor on her back. While the Nibai Jinchuriki sighed, he chuckled at her. Who knew it was so complicated? She asked, shaking his head. Now you see why Fuinjutsu isn't a studied subject. It's not like you have to become a Fuinjutsu master, Yujiro-chan, Naruto said, as the Nibai Jinchuriki stared him down. Are you saying I can't do it? She asked, and Naruto gulped as Yujiro mocked him. Yujiro smiled as he asked, no. Good. Well, I guess that's it for today. See you later, Naruto-kun, Yujiro said as she picked up the books and walked towards her room. Naruto smiling. He then jumped to his feet and kissed Fu on the cheek, who was sitting on the couch. See you later, Fu-chan, Naruto said, and the Nanabi Jinchuriki smiled as she watched her mate leave the house. I didn't tell him about the crystals we found in that cave, Fu thought to herself before she giggled and buried herself in her book, which she was reading with a giddy smile. Naruto is involved. The blonde was walking through the streets of Konoha when he noticed the lights flare around the village. He smiled, and the Hokage soon noticed the Mizukage near her hotel as she waited for the blonde. Did I take too long? Naruto inquired, and Mei shook her head before smiling lightly. No, you didn't. You're right on time. Blondie, she said, and Naruto nodded as the two began their walk. Mei stayed close to Naruto the entire time, marveling at the lights that Konoha had to offer at night. So, how do you like it as Cage so far? Mei inquired, and Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. It's rather enjoyable when it has to be, but very taxing the next. It's difficult to explain, Naruto said to her, and before he knew it, Mei was laughing at him and nodding confidently. I see. Well, I can understand that because I just got this position recently as well. We beginners have to stick together, don't we? She asked, and Naruto chuckled and nodded. That's right. It's nice to know I'm not the only one going through this, Naruto said, and Mei nodded with a smile. Just remember these words. A Cage may be a dictator, but she began as Naruto decided to finish it because he was aware of the oath. But they are nothing without their village behind them, Naruto said, and it goes without saying that Mei was surprised that he knew that. But then again, all Cage knew about the Cage oath to their villages. You're right, Naruto-kun. You have the makings of a great Cage, she said, and Naruto turned to face her, nodding. Yeah, I'd like to think I can get one in every now and then, he said to her, and Mei chuckled with a light nod as the two entered a small training ground and sat in the forest canopies, looking at the bright moon in the sky. They noticed Naruto's eyes were even more exquisite than before, which she admired. Mei unconsciously kissed Naruto's cheek, causing the blonde to blush as he turned to face her, then lightly touched his cheek and smiled. What was the point of that? He inquired, and Mei shrugged her shoulders. No one knows. Maybe I just like being that way around certain people. Of course, it helps that they're really cute, Mei said, and Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes. Would your village approve if you did this with another Cage? Naruto inquired, while Mei stumbled from the question, but she quickly recovered with a light smile as she placed her finger under Naruto's chin and turned his gaze to her. Perhaps we can work out some sort of treaty between our villages, she inquired, and Naruto blushed slightly at her suggestion. Well, I don't mind, but you'll have to take it up with the alpha female, Naruto said, and Mei's brow twitched with a light nod, assuming he was referring to Tsume. Oh, I don't think you have to worry about that, Mei said, and Naruto chuckled again before hearing a yell. They both looked and strained their eyes to see someone trading, going through some katas of his family's form before breathing heavily. Naruto smiled and jumped out of the tree, and Mei did the same before he called. Hey Sasuke, Naruto called, and the Uchiha turned around to see the blonde Hokage and some woman approaching him, wiping sweat from his brow and halting his training. "What do you want, loser?" Sasuke inquired rudely, which Mei noted, but Naruto explained that it was Sasuke's way of dealing with people, so Mei dismissed it. "Hey team, just wondering what you were doing all the way out here," Naruto said, and Sasuke closed his eyes with a small smirk. "I'm just going over some training methods, to which I should return immediately," Sasuke said, and Mei smiled as she turned to face Naruto. "Hey, Naruto-kun, why don't we spar? I've always wanted to see how strong you really are. If you don't mind," she said, and Sasuke paused while Naruto smiled and nodded. "Sure, I'm always down for some training, Databeo," Naruto told her, and Mei nodded as they walked away, but they noticed Sasuke following them. They figured he was excited to see two cage-level shinobi fight about it, and he also realized Naruto was giving him a signal to keep it to himself, to which the Uchiha nodded. He wouldn't be stupid like the other times and use his Sharingan. Naruto and Mei entered a more open field and separated themselves, with Naruto cracking his knuckles and Mei flipping her hair before placing a hand on her side, while Sasuke was the supposed proctor. "Why am I being forced to do this?" Sasuke inquired, and Naruto rolled his eyes. "Just do it, team," Naruto instructed, and Sasuke grumbled before raising his hand in the air. Hokage Naruto vs Mizukage Mei-san. "Begin," he yelled, and Naruto and Mei both smiled. The blonde quickly threw a shuriken, which Mei parried with a kunai. The shuriken flew into the air, but Mei never took her gaze off Naruto. The blonde grinned before vanishing in a blur of speed. Sasuke widened his eyes, and so did Mei, before the Mizukage blocked a kick to her face from the Chidori. Naruto yelled as he dashed towards Mei, but he noticed her doing some hand signs and she yelled back. "Yaten, Yakai no Jutsu," Mei yelled, and a blanket of lava appeared in the air over Naruto. And the blonde cursed as he stopped his Chidori and quickly vanished in yellow lightning as the lava slammed into the ground. And Mei laughed and shook her head. "So he truly is one of a kind," she said before noticing Naruto in the air, who smiled at her while Mei performed her hand signs. "Yaten, Taju Yogan no Jutsu," she yelled, sending the lava into the air at Naruto. And the blonde quickly did his hand signs as he defended his body. Immediately, sand rose in the air and covered Naruto's form as Mei's lava impacted with the sand, causing it to explode, and she smiled at her accomplishment. Both of them watched as Naruto fell from the sky before backflipping and landing on the ground, smiling and clapping. "You are, indeed, the Mizukage. Not that I had any doubts, but you can never be too certain. Now then, let me show you why I'm known as the Limitless Bloodline Ninja," Naruto said as he got down on one knee and held up his hands, causing the sand to swirl, and his shadow to appear. "Kage-main no Jutsu," Naruto yelled as his shadow ran straight for Mei along with his sand. Mei gasped and backflipped away from the incoming attack as the sand tried to subdue her. She dodged to the right, left, and jumped in the air to avoid being caught. "Wow, he's tough," Mei thought to herself before noticing Naruto's smile, the same smile that meant hell for anyone in his vicinity. Mei put her senses on high alert when she heard the trees rustle, and was immediately overtaken by two clones as she dropped to the ground. Mei threw two shuriken at them, but one blocked them and one dropped next to her as it smiled. "You're within my field of divination, Mei-chan," Naruto said, as Mei's visible eye widened as the clone struck her. "Naisho, Yansho, Hakusho, Jurokusho, Sanju Naisho, Rokujian Sho," the clone yelled as it slammed all of Mei's chakra points, sending her skidding back a few feet and huffing as the Naruto clone grinned. Mei smiled as she cracked her neck. "He's a tough one, to be sure, but he's a lot of fun." However, Mei said as she disintegrated into lava, causing Naruto and his clones to gasp. "What is lava bunshin?" Naruto thought before turning around to see Mei clapping. "Nice job, Naruto-kun," Mei said, and Naruto paused his assault while dispelling his clones. "You as well. I had a great time, especially with this," Naruto said, motioning with his hand. "Yaten, Yakai no Jutsu," Naruto yelled as he sent a wave of lava at Mei and the stunned Mizukage backflipped away while Sasuke gasped and watched the fight the entire time. Mei looked perplexed as Naruto closed his eyes. "How, though? When did you just say?" she inquired, and Naruto nodded, while Mei seemed even more taken with the blonde than she was before. "My lava jutsu was imitated. How did you manage it?" she inquired, and Naruto closed his eyes as he remembered the fight. "Do you remember when I was flying?" Naruto inquired, and she nodded while smirking. "I copied it while you were shooting those lava bullets at me. Sorry if I appeared too cool, but if you don't approve, I won't use it. I apologize for copying it. I wouldn't want to disrespect you by using it like that," Naruto said, and Mei got up. "Oh, it's fine. I'm relieved that my technique has caught the attention of the Hokage. Make good use of it. Now I can be happy that such a cutie has my Kekai Genkai," she said, and Naruto smiled as they heard someone speak. "Impressive fight, Naruto-kun. the person said, widening Sasuke's eyes, and Mei turned her head to see Itachi and Kasama approaching from behind the trees. Itachi, Sasuke said, fists clenched, but he remembered what he had to do and calmed down as Mei tensed, while Naruto stepped forward and glared. What are you doing here, Itachi? Naruto inquired, while Kasama laughed. Don't be in such a rush to die, Gaki, Kasama said before turning to Itachi, wondering if the Uchiha prodigy was serious about doing this. Itachi closed his eyes before turning to his younger brother. Hello, Sasuke, do you still despise me? Itachi asked, expecting an answer, but he didn't get the shout of hatred he expected the last time. Instead, he saw Sasuke look at the ground, his fists balled. But he wasn't here for his brother. Don't be alarmed, Naruto-san, I'm not here to fight. Rather, I'm here to talk, Itachi said, closing his eyes. Is that correct? Naruto inquired as Mei glared at Kasama, noticing the ex-Kiri headband and snarling at the Kiri swordsman. That is correct. Come on, let us talk, Itachi said before noticing Naruto's eyes. That's fine, but you need to talk to someone first, Naruto said, showing his eternal Mangekyou Sharingan and trapping Itachi in the Tsukuyomi while turning to Sasuke. Look into my eyes, team, Naruto said, and Sasuke stared as Mei, Naruto, Kasama, and Itachi vanished, leaving behind a lush green meadow complete with a waterfall, clear blue sky, radiant sun, and a soft breeze. Sasuke sighed before stopping, Itachi looking at him and Naruto smiling as he clapped his hands. Don't try to break this, Itachi, because you won't be able to. Now I'm going to lie down in this grass here, and you two are going to fucking figure this out, Naruto said as he lay down and closed his eyes in the Tsukuyomi, while Itachi narrowed his eyes. Did he notice? Itachi wondered before returning his gaze to Sasuke. The younger Uchiha looked at the ground, unsure what to say to the older one. He growled for a moment, but the pleasant background and cool breeze calmed him down. Why? Sasuke inquired, and Itachi raised an eyebrow, gritting his teeth and growling. How in the world did you do it? Sasuke yelled as he charged at Itachi, who easily dodged his attack, and before long Sasuke pivoted his foot and huffed. Itachi watched him with an impassive gaze before he saw tears fall to the floor. You stupid little brother, you should be aware by now. Sit down, Sasuke yelled, causing Itachi to stop as he closed his eyes. Sasuke's breathing became heavier, but he wasn't tired or exhausted, he was just incredibly frustrated at the moment. Naruto heard everything between the two, but let them talk because it wasn't his place to say anything. Don't think of me as an idiot, Itachi. Why couldn't you tell the truth to me? Why did I have to be the only one who had to kill you? Sasuke inquired, closing Itachi's eyes. I have no idea what you're talking about, Itachi said as Sasuke growled. Oh, you don't know. Okay, thanks to the dobe here, I read your file. It revealed everything to me. You offered to do it. Why? Why was the burden placed on you? I'm aware of the clan's revolt. I understand the concept of loyalty, so why did you do it? Sasuke inquired, and Itachi tensed, turning his gaze to Naruto, who was alone in the fields, minding his own business. You're too young to understand, Itachi said, but Sasuke waved it off with a shake of his head. Don't give that shit to me, Itachi. Someone told me that you wanted me to kill you so that I could be seen as the hero, the Uchiha clan's avenger, the sole survivor who rose up and restored his clan's honor. What an honor, Itachi. What was I supposed to do to reclaim my honor? It would take honor to restore it, but our clan desired to revolt. What is the point of that? Sasuke asked, staring at the ground, and Itachi folded his eyes open to see his younger brother staring at the ground. That's correct. I wanted you to be remembered as the Uchiha clan's hero. I wanted you to be the one to catch the murderer of the Uchiha clan. The best way to do that was to hate me, despise me, and seek to end my life, Itachi said as Sasuke growled and looked up at Itachi, his eyes blazing with the Sharingan. What happens next? I'd be even more lonely than I was before. My brother's blood would be on my hands, and I'd have no idea how to deal with it. Is that what you were hoping for? For me to be completely alone and relive the nightmare of the day you massacred the clan? Sasuke asked as Itachi closed his eyes, not knowing how to feel, but knowing that Sasuke knew the truth made him reconsider everything, and he wouldn't know what to do anymore. I've always wondered why you cried that night. The tears you shed as you fled. I thought it was a joke, but was I wrong? You truly cried, Sasuke said, and Itachi lowered his head in shame. You've always been my precious little brother. You were always trying to outdo me, no matter how stupid you were. I hoped the vengeance would motivate you enough to want to end my life. Sasuke, the blood of our clan has stained my hands. My own and someone else's, I'll never forget it, Itachi said, and Sasuke growled even louder. Do you think I will as well? I'll never forget what you did. But how do I feel about killing the clan for the sake of the village? Did you really adore Konoha? Sasuke inquired, closing Itachi's eyes. I did enjoy Konoha. Even now, I enjoy it. To keep it safe, I killed my family and became an S-rank missing ninja. It doesn't matter if people hate me as long as they're safe, Itachi said, and Sasuke returned his gaze to the ground. The cool air blew past them both, making them both feel a little more relaxed, while Naruto folded his hands behind his head. You already know what I think, Itachi. I think you're a fucking coward, Sasuke said, widening Itachi's eyes. Even Naruto agreed, but he wished they would kiss and make up because his chakra was still running to keep the damned Tsukuyomi alive, and he was getting tired. What does that mean, Sasuke? Itachi inquired, and Sasuke chuckled. You want to escape your pain. You want to fucking hide and die so you don't have to see it again. Itachi narrowed his eyes as Sasuke said, you don't want to take responsibility for it. What do you know about accepting responsibility? Itachi inquired, and Sasuke growled. Taking responsibility means dealing with the pain you caused and bringing it on yourself. If you break someone's sword, you get a better one in exchange. You take their money and repay it twice as much. You murder their family, but you live to remember the horror. Itachi, accept responsibility, Sasuke said, and Naruto wondered where Sasuke got these ideas about responsibility, but he attributed them to Genma and his teachings. Sasuke, Itachi said as Sasuke bit his lower lip. Itachi, get your fucking act together and come home. Be my brother once more. Teach me about the Sharingan and everything else that made you a prodigy. Show me what it's like to be a true wielder of the Sharingan, Sasuke said, and Itachi removed his Akatsuki cloak, dropped it on the ground, and closed his eyes, motioning for Sasuke with his finger. The young Uchiha approached Itachi cautiously, only for his brother to jab him in the forehead with two of his fingers. Sasuke, you fool, Itachi said before Sasuke widened his eyes and gave Itachi the biggest smile he could muster. I apologize. I was being self-centered the entire time. This time, my little brother, I'll teach you for real. Everything you'll need to know. We'll even have the talk one day, Itachi said, and Sasuke blushed slightly. That's just great, Sasuke droned uncomfortably, while Naruto jumped to his feet and smiled. Fucking finally, Dadabayo, Naruto said as he returned the Uchiha to him, while Sasuke sighed and Itachi closed his eyes. So, Itachi, what did you want to discuss with me? Naruto inquired, and Itachi's expression became solemn. Well, Hokage-sama, I was originally a messenger for the village's Akatsuki activities. I'd tell them about the minor details that would go unnoticed, but in a few years we'll be moving, and I thought you'd be interested to know. We're avoiding the Nibai and Nanabi Jinchuriki as well as yourself because we can't assess your strength as a Kage. The Ikabai Jinchuriki is fine for the time being, but we'll be looking for the Sanbai soon, and I thought you should know that Orochimaru has returned to Akatsuki, Itachi said, making Naruto and Sasuke narrow their eyes. Oh, he's back with them. I had only heard that he had been a part of you guys once, but nothing that piqued my interest. Why has he returned? Naruto inquired, but Itachi shrugged. I'm not sure, but Pain, Akatsuki's leader, announced it. I believe Uchiha Madara has something to do with it, Itachi said, widening Naruto and Sasuke's eyes. Madara Uchiha. Is this the same person who was said to have control over Beiju? Sasuke inquired, and Naruto gave a hard stare, remembering Kyubai's words and balling his fists. That's correct. He is the sole holder of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. It's said that those who possess it will have eternal life in sight, but I'm not sure. All I can say is that he's planning something with the Beiju, and it'll happen soon, Itachi said to them both before turning to face Sasuke. And he's the one who assisted me in the Uchiha massacre, Itachi said as Sasuke balled his fists, and Naruto placed on his chin as he reflected on everything. Wow, more big news. It appears that I will need to do more training. Well, whatever, Naruto thought to himself as he made a mental note to contact Kyuubi later. Okay, anything else? Naruto inquired, and Itachi nodded. We're also after the Yonbai. The Rokubai is currently unknown, and if they have captured him, they have not informed me. I only know that we already have the Gobai, Itachi said, and Naruto nodded. Alright, Itachi, you are reinstated as a Konoha shinobi until I have it finalized. I'm not going to take no for an answer, so don't deny me, Naruto said, while Itachi smiled. I wouldn't consider it, Naruto-san, Itachi said, pointing to Sasuke. Okay, here are your orders. You're going to, say, how powerful is your Sharingan? Naruto inquired, raising an eyebrow at Itachi. Strong enough to cause you some trouble, Itachi said, as Naruto's brow twitched and Sasuke laughed. Right, well, here's what you do for me, Naruto said, whispering into Itachi and Sasuke's ears before the Tsukuyomi world collapsed. From the Tsukuyomi, Sasuke opened his eyes, as did Itachi and Naruto, while Mei and Kasama were glaring at each other, relieved that Naruto had awoken, and Itachi returned to Kasama and resumed his cold glare. Kasama, we're leaving, Itachi said, and Kasama's eyes widened. What? Why? We came here for what? Kasama inquired, and Itachi shook his head, glaring at Sasuke and closing his eyes. No, it wasn't for naught. Now come on, Itachi said, but Kasama just shook his head and stared at him. No, Itachi, we can't just. Kasama paused as the Sharingan appeared in his eyes before vanishing. Itachi sighed and narrowed his eyes. Mei appeared surprised, and Naruto and Sasuke smirked. I am no longer alive. I died at the hands of the Yonbai Jinchuriki, forcing you to flee. You don't recall many details, but you do recall that I died as a result of my recklessness with my Sharingan while attempting to subdue the Jinchuriki, but failing. I'm dead. And you know it, Itachi said as Kasama nodded absently before walking away. Itachi closed his eyes and they returned to normal, and he burned his Akatsuki cloak and ring while lying on the floor. Did I forget something? Mei inquired, a small smile on Naruto's face. It's a long story. Come on, let's go back to the village and I'll explain, Naruto said, while Mei nodded absently, wondering what happened when Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi stared at each other. Meanwhile, Sasuke frowned at Itachi, making the older Uchiha look down. What exactly is it, Sasuke? Itachi inquired, and Sasuke's eyes narrowed. You seem to be a lot happier, Sasuke said, closing Itachi's eyes. It's just your imagination, Itachi said, rolling his eyes. Whatever you say, he said as the four of them walked away. But Naruto was about to learn the price of keeping a Jinchuriki, especially Fu, around. Taki, sir, word has it that Konoha has the Nanabi Jinchuriki. Should we take her right now? Someone inquired, and the leader shrugged. Not yet, no. Wait a minute, and we'll force them to hand her over, he said, a small chuckle echoing in his office.
So this was it for today. I will continue the story next part. Till then, we weave offline.